My name is Prem Mukherjee, and I had a portrait studio named Arising Images in Lake Orion, Michigan. I started that almost 20 years ago. I was having lunch with a friend of mine, and he's a connector. He loves connecting people. I was just talking to him about where we're at and what our business looks like, and he's like, you should really talk to my friend Craig. And I was like, what's Craig's last name? He said, Doescher. I said, I think I know his parents. So I just had lunch with him one day, and we just started talking numbers. And he's like, well, maybe you should let me look at your QuickBooks file. And he looks at the QuickBooks file. He comes back to me. He's like, I'll bet I could probably sell your business for XYZ. And I'm like, Craig, here you go, man. Do it. Go make that happen. I thought it was something that maybe if I change a lot more things, maybe in 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, it would be a sellable asset. He's like, no, he's like, you could sell it now. I didn't know anything even about the process. Like, how do you even sell a business? You just like put it on Facebook and say, hey, I'm thinking about retiring. Anybody want to buy this? I didn't know. I didn't know that there's brokers. I didn't know that there's whole businesses about selling businesses. None of that was even on my radar. Most of my stuff was already in a pretty good place because I was very detail-oriented and documented and had training procedures and managers in place. Like, all that was already there, but I just didn't have the organization of the bookkeeping in the back end to show another business that, hey, this is ready. Like, this is a sellable asset here. We talked about a lot of things of like, hey, if we can make the business show this, then we can probably get a little more for it. In the first round that we put the business out for sale, it didn't go well, and we got 2 offers that weren't very good, and they didn't end up turning into anything. And I was honestly pretty disheartened. Craig just said, he's like, here's the deal. He's like, we signed a contract with this broker for a year. There's no harm in letting him give it another shot. So we waited a few months, we put it back on the market, and we got 1 offer. And it was not a good offer. And I said, Craig, I'm not even gonna get out of bed for that offer. And he's like, but here's the thing, and this is where Craig was invaluable. He explained how this works, and he said, you got an offer. He said, just like with a house, that's not your final offer. He's like, now you negotiate. Craig explained to me how you can take a business and you can craft a story behind it. And that meant a lot to me because that's what my business was. My business was about storytelling. And anytime we had a client that we were doing a sale with, we didn't just sell product, we sold a story, we sold emotionally. So he did that, and the offer went up and up and up to the point where I was like, okay, I feel like this is now a viable offer, and it's something that that we should be considering, and he brought it all the way to close. I knew my numbers within the industry and how what I was doing compared, and I knew what some of the potential was in growth areas, but I didn't have any concept how to communicate that to a potential buyer because I didn't understand the headspace of a potential buyer. I didn't know what they're looking for. I didn't know what they need. I didn't know what language they speak. And that was probably the biggest thing is like Craig spoke a foreign language that I didn't know about, and he was the interpreter. He took what I had and he translated it into another language, and then he delivered that information to the buyer. I tell people, Craig sold my business. The broker didn't sell my business, Craig sold my business. When I compare what I did with Doescher Group to what I did with the broker, it was probably 10-1 in how much time I was spending with Doescher Group versus the broker. I knew that Craig had my back, and I knew that I just could feel it, that he wasn't just telling me what I needed to hear to get me to close. He would advise me, I don't think you should entertain this. Whereas I feel like the broker was always like, yeah, what are the next things we need to do to keep this moving? And like they were just trying to get to close, where Craig was trying to do what was in my best interest. I would never, ever, ever consider going through what I did without having hired them. I can say without hesitation that Doescher Group made me millions more than I would have made without them.